The proper evidence tag is now been marked. It's 01, 03 through 7, 07A, because originally there were two 07s, and then 08 through 47.
Okay, we make sure you do that in front of the jury too, in case anyone's taking notes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we otherwise ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Bring in the jury.
All rise, jury entering.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Have a seat. And I think State gonna clear up something as far as the number of exhibits on
Yes, yes, Judge. As
Okay.
to Exhibit O, there was some misnumbering. So Exhibit O is going to include 01, 03 through 7, 07A, and 08 through 47.
Very good. You may proceed.
Ms. Wagner, I think where we left off is we were still going through photographs first of the apartment. And when you go through the apartment, do you document that scene through photographs first before you collect any evidence?
Yes.
C15, is this a photograph of the kitchen?
Yes.
And when you're taking these photographs, do you in fact know that every single photograph you take, whether or not it has any significance to the case?
No, not at the time.
So you're not provided statements that maybe somebody was drinking alcohol or anything like that?
Correct.
You document the scene as you find it?
Correct.
State's Exhibit C17, where are you standing when you're taking this photograph?
This is a little bit further inside the front door. The kitchen, if you could see it, would be off to the left outside the photo. So this is the hallway that leads back to straight back towards the living room or family room and the balcony beyond.
C18, is this moving closer into the family room?
Yes.
C20, what is this photograph?
This is stepping a little bit further into the family room, looking back towards the balcony, which is behind the slider.
C23, did you ultimately go out whatever is behind those blinds?
Yes,
And what was behind the blinds?
that's the balcony.
And did you, when you went to the apartment, is that how you found the blinds to be?
Yes.
State's Exhibit C24. What does this photograph depict?
This is a picture of the balcony from the living room with the vertical sliding blinds pulled off to the side.
C26, what is this photograph of?
That's the floor of the balcony itself with the slider door open.
And did you document your observations as to the floor and the markings on the floor?
Yes.
And what is that item that is located here towards the bottom right of the photograph?
It's a small wheel.
Do you collect that item at this time when you're taking the photographs, or do you still continue taking photographs and then go back and collect evidence?
More photographs were taken first.
Showing you you State's Exhibit C28. What is this in the center top of the photograph? If you were on the porch and you were to go through that, what appears to be a sliding glass door, what room would you be entering?
That'd be the master bedroom.
State's Exhibit C31, is this another photograph depicting the markings on the porch area there?
Yes, it is.
And did those markings seem to be connected or related at all to the markings then that we're seeing on the carpet leading into the family room?
Yes.
Over to the right center of this photograph, was there a door or any kind of storage area located outside on the porch?
Yes, it was a little storage closet that you sometimes see in apartment patios.
State's Exhibit C32, was that the storage area?
Yes.
State's Exhibit C34, what is this a photograph of?
That's a photograph close-up of that wheel that was on the balcony.
How come some photographs have rulers or scales and some do not?
You always want to take a photograph without, and then you take a photograph with the scale, and that's just to show that there's nothing like being obscured by the scale. So that's why you take a photograph first without them.
And is the scale to give some kind of reference to the size of it?
Yes.
State's Exhibit C35, is this the other side of the wheel once it had been turned over?
Yes.
C36, where is this photograph taken from?
That's from the family room or living room again. The TV kind of would be behind you in this photograph, and it's looking towards the master bedroom. So that other slider door that leads in from the patio is to the left of the photo. You know, if those blinds were open, you'd see it.
One moment, Judge.
Yes.
C38, is this a photograph of the bed in the master bedroom?
Yes, it is.
And is this the way the bed looked when you arrived there on May 21st of 2014?
Yes, it is.
If there were pictures documenting that were taken by law enforcement in the very early morning hours of May 18th of 2014, you did not remove the bedding or change it in any way, is that correct? If it showed early on May 18th in the early morning hours, the bed was made?
Correct.
And again, states C38, did it just appear, or was there just a comforter on that bed, or were actually any sheets collected? Do you recall?
To best of my recollection, I collected a comforter, but I don't recall any sheets
From this bed?
from this bed.
C40. What does that photograph depict?
That's a little bit further into the bedroom, looking towards the master bath area. So there's a sink area and then the shower toilet area.
C41, what does this photograph depict?
A little bit further into the master bath. Again, the sink to the left of the photo, a closet to the right, and then the wet area, the toilet and shower past that.
C42, is this within a photograph within the same master bath,
Yes,
showing the countertop area?
yes.
C43, is this still within the master bedroom,
Yes,
showing part of the bathroom and the closet?
correct.
C44,
It's another view into the closet in the master suite.
C45, is this another photograph of that same master bedroom closet?
Yes,
C47, is this still within the master bedroom or master bathroom?
yes,
And is this what appears to be 2 candles found on the floor of the shower in that is that how you found that master bathroom?
yes, it is.
State's Exhibit C49, what is this a photograph of?
This is what I describe in my report as the front bedroom, so it's the other bedroom that's in the apartment.
C50, is this a photograph moving further within that bedroom?
Yes,
And when you ultimately found the wheel that was located out on the back porch, did you look at these 2 suitcases to determine whether or not either one of them was missing any wheels?
yes,
Were either one of these suitcases located within this photograph missing any of the wheels?
no,
State's Exhibit C51.
that's the closet in the front bedroom.
This is the closet that relates to the room that has no bed, is that correct?
Correct.
C52, again, is that same closet?
Yes, it is.
C53, is this also a photograph taken within that closet?
Yes,
Were you aware of whether or not this was in fact a male or a female's bedroom?
no,
State's Exhibit C54.
that's a view of some of the items that were in the corner of that front bedroom. So there was like a pile of items and a suitcase and some other personal effects.
And is this in fact how you found these items on May 21st of 2014?
Yes, it is.
Are you aware of whether or not, when previous photos were taken by Temple Terrace law enforcement, if the clothing had in fact looked different or more in a more folded manner, like it had been dumped out? Do you know that at all?
I don't know that.
State's Exhibit C55. Is this still within that second bedroom?
Yes,
C65. What is this a photograph of?
just documenting the tag that was on the luggage.
C57. Is this also the tag, turning it over, taking another photograph of the tag.
Yes, it's a little hard to see what's indicated on there.
Can you read the name on that tag?
It looks like it's unreadable, and then Van, Tay Van, V-A-N-N?
Could it be possibly Ivy, I-V-Y van?
Yes.
Again, you take the tag, a photograph of the tag that comes from an airport.
Yes, that's a picture of the airline tag, and the name Ivy Van is at the bottom.
State's Exhibit C59, what is this a photograph of?
That was a little closet that was in that straight hallway, like if you'd come through the front door, there was a little closet, and that was just some items, some cleaning items that were in the closet.
Were those the only cleaning items that were located within the residence that you recall?
I don't recall specifically. I don't recall searching other areas for cleaning items.
Okay. Do you recall if there were cleaning items located in the trunk of that Lexus SUV vehicle?
I don't
The
recall.
photographs that were taken?
I don't recall.
Showing you, we're gonna go back to a minute for 41. Do you recall finding the bottle that's in the top right-hand corner and what appears to be another bottle beneath it? Do you recall looking at those at all?
I don't have any actual independent recollection of that.
Going back to the photographs of the residents, State's Exhibit C60, do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
And what is that photograph of?
That's what I'd call the common bathroom or the guest bathroom. That's again off that straight hallway as you came in the front door.
So this bathroom is separate and apart from the second bedroom with the suitcases in it, is that correct?
Correct.
State C61, is this a bathroom that has a tub with a shower?
Yes.
C62, is that still within that same second bathroom?
Yes, it
Or
is.
guest bathroom?
Yes, it is.
Did you go back and document the markings that you observed on the flooring?
Yes.
State's Exhibit C63. Let me approach. Is this photograph standing within the kitchen looking towards the family room?
Yes.
And are there scratches on the flooring of the kitchen?
Yes.
And are they towards the center top of that photograph?
Yes, they are. They're on the linoleum or vinyl of the kitchen floor. Some parallel scratches that you can see on the carpet as well, but they're also on the linoleum. You can see them reflected in the light from the window.
State's Exhibit C64. Now this is a photograph depicting the tracks that were observed within the family room, is that correct?
Yes.
And this photograph, it appears to have been taken at night, and you were at the apartment during the day, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Did this photograph capture those markings more clearly with the lighting than your photographs?
Yes, they do.
Now, did you observe, though, in fact, those parallel track marks on May 21st of 2014 when you were at the apartment documenting the scene?
Yes, I did.
State's Exhibit C65. Are these also markings that you noted on the floor?
Yes.
Do you recall where this particular photograph was?
I believe it's by the kitchen area, but I'd have to reference all my photos in order to.
When was this pergo or linoleum-looking wood, was that within the kitchen and the hallway? And was it mainly just the bedrooms and the family room that had the carpeting area?
Yes, it is.
State's Exhibit C66. Is this also markings that you observed on the floor?
Yes.
C67. Where is this photograph taken of?
This is a small closet that, again, if you were standing at the front door would be to the bottom of the photograph in this picture. If you're standing at the front door looking straight back towards the living room, this would be on your left. So on the other side of the wall to the left of the photo would actually be the kitchen. So this is a first little closet that's right there by the front door.
And is that how you found those items falling out of the closet like that?
Yes.
State's Exhibit C69. Is this the hallway leading into the family room area?
Yes.
And again, are there markings on that flooring?
Yes.
C70, I'm not sure if it'll show that better, but could you point to the marking that you documented in that photograph?
Go ahead.
In this photo, in the center of the photo, towards the top, you start to see the black mark. The mark leads down towards the center of the photo. There's another one that accompanies it, again at the top of the photo, leading down onto the wood floor. So you can see the scale is placed down, but there's a mark that goes from the bottom center of the photo through to the top.
And is there also a mark on the, not on the floor, but along the baseboard of that wall?
Yes, there is.
State's Exhibit C73, what does this photograph depict?
This is a photograph of those same marks, but this is standing in the family room looking towards the front door. With the front door being open, you get the good reflection of the light, and you're able to distinguish the marks that are actually on the pergo or vinyl.
After you were done documenting the scene, what did you do next?
I examined the carpeted areas of the residence with the alternate light source. As I mentioned with the vehicle, I used the alternate light source to look for areas that might glow within the residence on the carpeted areas.
And did you have any areas luminesce?
Yes.
What areas were those?
There was an area by the floor, by the bed on the floor in the master bedroom. And then there was an area on the floor in that front bedroom as well.
Did you conduct further testing of those areas by taking the swab and applying the chemical to it?
No, in this particular case, because I didn't have the chemical, the acid phosphatase reagent with me on scene, because it's more of a lab technique, those weren't further tested. So just swabs were taken of those particular areas.
And you stated that that was in front of the, one was in front of the bed?
One was right on the floor in the master bedroom next to the bed, and then one was a spot on the floor in the front bedroom.
State's Exhibit C-74, is that the area where the swabbing was taken from?
Yes.
Do you recall where in the bedroom, the spare bedroom, that other swabbing was taken from?
No, I don't.
What, if anything else, did you do?
The next thing I did is used the Blue Star reagent. I'm sorry, before I did that, I actually tested several areas within the house with the phenolphthalein reagent. So for example, the drains in the sink were all swabbed and tested with phenolphthalein, the shower drains. So any of those areas were tested to see if they had possible reactions for blood, but they all were negative. Then I followed it up with the final step, which is spraying the entire residence with Blue Star, which is again the chemical that makes it turn that bright blue color. And that was the next step.
Going back for a minute to the swabs that you collected from the carpeting areas, did you conduct any further testing later on back at Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
No.
Okay. Then moving back to the Blue Star, where did you spray within the apartment for the Blue Star?
Just about everywhere. It was the carpeted areas, the floor area, the counters in the bathrooms, the toilets in the bathrooms, any place that would be a possible location for blood.
Showing you State's Exhibit C-75, this being the master bathroom counter. It appears to have some kind of wet substance in that photograph. Is that how the Blue Star chemical looks after you spray it?
Yes, this is under just plain white light. It's already been sprayed, so I've already gotten that bright blue reaction. The reason there's not a photograph of that is because you don't want to overspray it because it can dilute the blood away. So once I got the reaction, I put a ruler down as quickly as possible to be able to photograph it and then swab it to try to collect any possible blood that was on the counter.
Did you conduct any further testing on the swab that you took from this area?
Yes.
What chemical was applied to that?
That was the phenolphthalein test.
And did that come back positive or negative?
Those came back positive.
And that presumptive test for blood, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you recall how many swabbings you took specifically from this area?
2.
State's Exhibit C-76, is that the ruler that you placed down in that area?
Yes, it is.
And there's an A and a B marked on that ruler.
That's correct.
And is that how you showed where you were swabbing from?
It is.
Do you do any further testing on that after you get the presumptive positive for blood?
No.
Anywhere else do you recall spraying and getting the blue luminescence?
Yes.
And what areas were those?
That in the master bathroom on the toilet seat and in the guest bathroom on the toilet seat. There was also a towel in the residence.
State's Exhibit C-78, is this a photograph of the toilet in the master bath?
Yes.
And C-79, is that a close-up of a ruler that is placed on the toilet seat?
Yes, it is.
And is that marked as C?
Correct.
And is that where you took a swabbing of?
Yes.
Did you apply the phenolphthalein substance to that?
Yes.
And did that come back positive or negative?
Positive.
Did you conduct any further testing on that swab?
No.
And you said you also got the bright blue luminescence in the guest bathroom.
Correct.
What area did you get the positive in that area?
That was also on the toilet seat.
And did you conduct the phenolphthalein test on that?
Yes.
And was that positive or negative?
Positive.
Did you conduct any further testing on that?
No.
Were there any other areas that was the light lit up with the Blue Star spray?
Yes.
What areas were those?
There was a towel in the bathroom or in the closet that was near the bathroom that had the bleach.
The Clorox bleach?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
shown in state C59.
Yes, there was on that shelf was a purple towel that, which when sprayed with Blue Star, had the luminescent reaction. And when done a general swab on the towel, the swabs returned a positive phenolphthalein result.
Did you conduct any further testing on those swabs?
No.
What, if anything else, did you do while you were at the residence?
To the best of my recollection, that's it. Collected the items and gave them over to Detective Kelly.
What items did you collect while you were there at the residence?
There were a number of items, swabs, the wheel, a broken zipper, some items that were found in the trash like tissue paper, the towel.
Was there tissue paper also located on the floor of the residence that you collected?
Yes.
State's Exhibit C80. Is this a photograph taken within the family room?
Yes, that was under the couches.
And were those items collected?
Yes.
Did you conduct any testing on those?
No.
State's Exhibit C83 is this photograph of the toilet seat marked D. Is that the swabbing or the area that you tested with the phenolphthalein in the master bathroom that tested positive?
This is the common bathroom, the guest bathroom.
Yes. I'm sorry, the common bathroom.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that you collected various items. Did you say that you collected the wheel that you observed on the porch?
Yes.
Did you collect anything else that appeared to having been belonged to a suitcase?
Yes.
And what was that?
A zipper pull, so the actual like little tab that you grab a hold of.
State C84, is that a photograph of that zipper pull that you collected?
Yes.
Did you conduct any testing on that?
I did not.
I'm going to show you what's going to be identified as EE1 for identification purposes. If you can tell me if you recognize the outside of the packaging.
Yes, I do.
And how is it that you recognize it?
It's got my handwriting on it.
And if you can look inside.
Yes, I recognize that.
And is it in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on the date May 21st of 2014 when you collected the item?
Yes, it is.
If I can show you the other envelope, it's State's Exhibit EE2 for identification purposes. Do you recognize the outside of that envelope?
Yes, I do.
And how is it that you recognize it?
It has my handwriting on it.
Now, did you, either one of these envelopes, did you put the red taping and enclose those?
No, I did not.
Did you, what did you do with them?
I gave them to Detective Kelly.
Okay. With the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Correct.
If you could please open up EE2 and let me know if you recognize the item inside.
Yes, I do.
And is it in the same or substantially the same condition as it was on May 21st of 2014 when you collected it?
Yes.
State offers into evidence State's Exhibit EE1 and EE2.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
There's nothing.
Permission to publish, Judge?
Yes.
Do you want gloves or you're fine with that? I'm fine. If we can open up EE1, being the wheel that was collected.
Would you like me to step down?
Judge, may she step down?
Yes, of course.
And can you please publish EE2?
There's a swab in here from FDLE.
You didn't conduct any DNA testing on that zipper, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Wagner, the zipper pull, where is it that item was actually collected from?
The living room floor?
On the carpeted area?
Yes.
And was it within, or near, right within the tracks of on that carpeted area, or just next to those tracks?
I don't recall.
Judge, may I have a moment?
Yes.
The state will pass the witness at this time.
Okay, cross-examination.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
The last piece of evidence that you looked at, you pulled out what appeared to be a swab that was in the same envelope.
Correct.
Okay. Is that a swab that you took?
No.
All right. Does the fact that there's a swab in that envelope suggest to you that someone attempted to take what you would refer to as touch DNA sample?
I'm not sure why they would have taken the swab. It could have been for any portion of DNA if they were looking, whatever they were looking for. You'd have to ask that analyst what they were doing.
But that certainly could be one of the reasons.
Yes.
Okay. Another reason could be, for example, what you've talked about taking samples of items that presumptively tested positive for blood, and you would do a swab sample of some of those items so that it can be sent to the laboratory to confirm whether or not, in fact, it was blood.
Correct.
Okay. You didn't do any of that.
No.
Okay. I want to make sure when you were searching the car, make sure I understood you correctly. I thought I heard you say that there were multiple blue star reactions inside the interior of the car. Did I misunderstand you?
There was a blue star reaction on multiple areas were sprayed. There was a positive reaction on the driver's floor mat. If I said there were
Okay.
multiple positives, I misspoke.
Okay, so there's only one positive reaction from the blue star
Correct.
spray.
Yes.
Just you sprayed it in multiple areas.
Yes.
And the one that was in fact a positive reaction, that's the one you did the additional testing, and you ended up getting a presumptive positive for blood.
Correct.
Okay. And again, until that's sent to the lab to do additional testing and confirmation, presumptive basically just means it may be blood, it may not be blood.
That's exactly right.
Okay. You'd indicated when you were searching the car that you wore a sort of a whole body suit, I believe.
Yes.
Goggles, gloves, what have you.
Correct.
As you're handling different items of evidence that are in the vehicle, do you repeatedly replace the gloves that you're wearing?
Yes, it's actually so common. I wear multiple layers of gloves so that you can change them easily
Okay, and the purpose of that is what?
to eliminate a potential for cross-contamination.
Okay. A lot of the things that you're looking for are things that you can't see with the naked eye.
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, for example, me just standing here and holding on to this, I may be leaving touch DNA on this podium, right?
Correct.
I can't see it, you can't see it.
That's correct.
Okay, but you can do particular testing and do swabs, and then taking it to the lab, you may be able to find things that may actually connect it and say that I stood here and I'm the one that left it touch DNA, right?
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right, redirect.
No redirect, Judge.
Okay, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Free
you,
to
Your
go.
Honor.
All right, Steve, do you have another witness we can do here in the next 30 minutes?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay.
The state would call Sgt Spaulding, Kerri Spaulding.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this cause is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
If you step up this way, have a seat.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to introduce, and I think there's an agreement with the defense states, L is in Lima, L1 through L6, L8 through L9, L11 through L16, and L19 through L27 photographs. Additionally, states I, as in India, 1 through 14, and states J as in Juliet, 1 through 54.
Okay, any objection? They'll be admitted.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you please state your name and spell your name for us?
I'm Sgt Kerri Spaulding, Kerri Spaulding.
And Sergeant, where are you employed?
The Clearwater Police Department.
And how long have you worked for the Clearwater Police Department?
Since October of 2000.
And in May of 2014, what was your position with the Clearwater Police Department?
I was a robbery homicide detective at that time.
Okay. And you're now a sergeant?
Yes, sir.
And what are your duties now as a sergeant?
I'm a patrol sergeant, and I work Clearwater Beach.
Okay, so you're supervising other officers on a patrol unit?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to call your attention back to May 17th, which was a Saturday of 2016. Do you recall that date?
Yes, sir, I do.
Were you on duty on that date and working?
I was. I believe my shift started at 4 p.m., and I was driving into my shift.
All right. And do you actually reside out of county?
Yes.
Out of Pinellas County?
At that time, I actually believe I was in Palm Harbor.
Oh, you're in Palm Harbor. Okay.
Yes.
So still in North Pinellas County? at
Correct.
least. Okay. And so you're responding from Palm Harbor, or you were driving into work down to Clearwater?
Correct.
All right. And during that drive, did you receive a phone call in reference to a situation on the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
Yes, I did.
And I was remiss, I didn't ask you this when I introduced you, but are you a sworn and certified law enforcement officer by standards here in the state of Florida?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. And when you received that phone call, was that concerning a call that had come into to the Clearwater Police Department from the Clearwater Fire Department in reference to a body that had been located on the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
Yes, correct.
And was the body found on land or in water?
It was in the water.
And do you remember what time that call came into the Clearwater Police Department?
I believe it came in at about 3:24 p.m.
Okay. And did you then reroute and respond to that scene?
Yes, I did.
And is there a portion of the Courtney Campbell Causeway that's contained within Pinellas County?
Yes,
And then there's a portion that's contained within Hillsborough County?
correct.
The area you were responding to, was that within Pinellas County?
Yes, it was within Pinellas.
And that part of the causeway, is it within the city limits of Clearwater?
Yes,
So that fell within your jurisdiction?
correct.
And while you were en route, did you make phone contact with officers who were there at the scene?
I did. I spoke with, I believe it was Sergeant Duvall at the time, and kind of got an update on what was happening. So I asked him to call PCSO Forensics, set up a crime scene, and also contact the medical examiner's office.
Okay, so let's back up. PCSO's Pinellas County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, it is.
And does the City of Clearwater Police Department contract with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office Forensics Unit to do their crime scene?
Yes, we do.
And the medical examiner's office would have investigators respond out from their agency?
Correct.
And as far as securing the crime scene, is there some type of tape that's utilized to do that in law enforcement?
Yes, it's a yellow crime scene tape, and it's used to keep an area secure so people don't come in and out of it.
All right, sets a boundary that is then enforced.
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall when you arrived at the scene?
I believe I arrived at about 3:47 p.m.
And of course, there were other officers on scene. You've already told us that.
Yes, sir.
And there was Clearwater Fire Rescue there. Is that correct?
Yes, they were.
All right. And when you arrived on the scene, did you enter the scene by entering onto an access road?
I did, yes.
And which side of the causeway was the access road on?
The access road is on the north side of the causeway.
All right. And does that access road that you entered into, does it run in one direction only, as far as properly traffic routing on
It
that?
does. It runs westbound.
Westbound. So you were entering and heading eastbound?
Eastbound in the westbound lane, correct.
And did other officers and fire rescue do the same thing?
I do believe that, yes, I remember one other officer had made that comment. I wasn't exactly sure how far down the crime scene was, so that's why I entered from the nearest area I could get in and then head that way.
And if you were going to go the route that you're supposed to, which would be westbound, you would have to go east down several miles, at least maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles to enter onto that northbound or that north side access road.
Yes, it's actually in Hillsborough County.
And then you'd have to turn around and come back to the west.
Correct.
So it was quicker and faster to go the way you went.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as states J45 and just ask, have you previously seen the photograph?
Yes.
Do you recognize that as an aerial photograph of the section of the Courtney Campbell Causeway that you responded to?
Yes.
Okay. So going back up to the top of the photograph, would this be the city of Clearwater proper up here?
It is, yes.
All right. And then this up here that's going across the top, would that be the
Bayside Bridge.
Bayside Bridge that connects Clearwater to almost down by the Clearwater Airport, the Clearwater St. Petersburg Airport?
Yes, sir.
And I believe as that comes onto the mainland and then crosses over Highway 60, it becomes McMullen Booth Road?
Yes, it does.
So to respond out to this scene, you would have to respond westbound on the Courtney Campbell Causeway.
Correct.
Was there an area approximately in this area, and I'm going to point, where you entered onto the access road?
Yes, where the pointer is.
Okay. And is this the access road, this little strip of white?
Yes, it is.
And when you entered into the access road, that north side access road, did you then proceed west
Yes, I did.
towards the crime scene?
Correct.
When you were traveling down, let me show you another photograph so we have a reference. Again, publishing states J45. As you travel down this north side access road, was there a line of vegetation here on the shoreline?
Yes, there is.
And did that consist mainly of mangroves?
Yes, it does.
All right. And were the mangroves, did they protrude out into that westbound, or I guess, yeah, it's a westbound
It's
road, but you were
westbound.
heading eastbound on it?
Correct.
All right. So as you traveled on that road, your driver's side would have been up against where the mangroves are?
Yes, it was.
States J33. You recognize this also as another aerial photograph of the actual crime scene itself,
Yes,
or the area of the crime scene?
the area, correct.
Now, this photograph was not taken on the day that the body was found, correct?
Correct, it was not.
It was taken at a later time.
Correct.
All right. But these would be the mangrove trees on the shoreline.
Yes.
As you traveled down that road, heading towards the crime scene, did you hear noises on your driver's side of your car?
Yes, I did.
And when you got to the crime scene and finished your work and were leaving, did you notice something on the driver's side of your car?
I had scratches down the side of my driver's door.
All right. And do you know that those were caused by the bushes as you went down the road?
Yes, because I had just gotten that car, and it was a Dodge Charger, charcoal gray. And as I was driving, I could hear like a high-pitched squeal sound that you could tell the branches were scratching down my car. But it was a really narrow road, and the car was low, so I was trying to stay on the road, because if I was coming off the road, then I was afraid the car would bottom out.
Okay. And it is a narrow road?
Yes.
A single-lane road?
Yes.
Okay. And those scratches were not there before?
No, they were not.
This was a brand-new car?
Yes.
Patrol car provided by the city of Clearwater?
Yes.
When you arrived, at the scene, was the body still in the water?
Yes.
And when you arrived, had crime scene tape already been put up in the
Yes.
scene?
Counsel, can you approach real quick? Can I ask you a question? To the audience, I anticipate with this witness, we're about maybe ready to get into some photographs that are probably graphic in nature, and that it's critically important that for anyone, particularly family members that are friends, close friends that are in the courtroom, that if these are going to be disturbing for you or troubling, I would ask that you please go ahead and leave the courtroom now, because what we can't have is any type of outcry or disturbance while the witness is testifying. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that's where we were headed at this moment. Okay? Okay.
Show you it's been marked as states J6. Do we see the crime scene tape in this photograph?
Yes, sir.
Could you point it out and kind of run your finger across it?
It starts here. It would have been tied to a tree, and then it ran on the upstairs. They're still putting it up.
I'm sorry, I'm not doing
Sorry.
And the individuals in the photograph, those are all Clearwater Police Department officers?
Yes, they are.
States. I'm sorry, states I-7. Is that another section of the crime scene tape that's shown in that photograph?
Yes, sir, it is.
And states I-8.
Yes.
Can we see the crime scene tape in that photograph?
Correct.
Okay. Was there a decision made at some point after you arrived, after discussions with the medical examiner's office, to remove the body from the water?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to show you states I-14. Can you just describe for us what's depicted in that photograph? And I'm going to try to get the glare off the photograph.
Sure. That's the shoreline. Instead of it being like Clearwater Beach, where it's a nice smooth sand, that shoreline consists of boulders, rocks, and there are barnacles and things like that on the shoreline.
Did it appear the rocks had jagged edges on them?
Yes, it was very sharp.
And is the water seen in that photograph? Is that above where the rocks are?
I'm sorry, what
The
did you say?
water itself of the bay?
Yes.
Okay. States I-1, and is the body that was seen in the water, can we see it in this photograph?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you point to it, please? Okay. You might as well just remain standing.
Sure.
I want to ask you a couple more questions as we go here. I-2, is the body in the water, seen in the water here?
Yes.
Can you point to the body and show us?
Yes. Her arm is right here between a rock Her buttocks is here, and then her back, and then her face is facing in towards the water in like a southeast direction.
Okay. States I3.
It's a closer picture. Her face is here. Again, her back, her arm, her buttocks, and then her legs. You can see here.
States I4. And in that photograph, can we see her right, her right arm
Yes, sir, right here.
is over that rock?
Yes.
States I9. What is happening in this photograph?
The officers we were getting a plan together to safely get her out of the water, so we didn't cause more damage. And so the officers, I believe at this point, he's trying to tie what's called a hobble onto one of her arms so we can start maneuvering.
Okay. And can you just describe for the jurors what a hobble is?
Sure. It's a piece of fabric that we kind of wear around our belts. If we have a prisoner that's in the back of our car that is either trying to kick out our back windows, you can use it to secure their feet so they can't move and kick up. So it's a tool that we have.
States I10. And do we see the hobble in this photograph?
Yes, there's this piece right here.
Okay. Excuse me. And is it secured to some part of this person's body?
Yes, sir, it's her right arm.
And by securing her arm, were the officers able to basically float her body down to an area where there were no trees, where they could try to remove her?
Yes. We were going to float her over, and then we were trying to lift her up. And then instead of pulling her across the rocks, we were going to lift her up and safely get her out of the water.
Okay. States I11. Is this the body just being removed here from the water, or is that
Yes,
part of
sir.
that process?
That's part of the process.
Okay. States I12. Now, this is the person who was in the water, correct?
Yes.
Had the Clearwater Fire Rescue Unit provided this blue object here to place the victim on that?
Yes, we asked for a tarp to have a clean place to put her.
Okay. And I-13, is that the victim's body after she had been removed from the bay
Yes, sir.
on that tarp? Now, the photographs we just viewed, when you arrived, did you instruct a uniformed officer, since your crime scene people weren't there yet and you had to remove the body, to actually take these photographs of the victim while she was in the water?
Yes, I did.
And to take the photographs as the process of removing her was occurring?
Correct.
If you just keep your position there for 1 second, I'm going to show you a few more photos. States L as in Lima, L1. Is this just another photograph of that shoreline
Yes,
and
correct.
the water?
Yes, sir.
So, and I should have asked you this probably when we were looking at the photos of the victim in the water, but was the water calm or were there waves?
No, it was wavy.
All right, and was there a noticeable wind blowing?
Yes, there was.
And where was the wind blowing from?
It was blowing from the northeast
Okay,
into the shoreline.
into the shoreline.
Correct.
All right, so it would have been blowing as you were facing towards that water into your face.
Yes.
And was the victim's body being washed up onto the rocks as you were there with the other officers observing her in the water?
Yes.
And is that the reason that the medical examiner's office directed you to remove her body from the water
Yes, it was.
to prevent any further damage to the body?
Correct.
But did you actually see the victim's body being pushed up onto the rocks and then pulled back off the rocks?
You could see, yes, you could see her moving.
States L4. In this photograph, do we see the hobble tie on the victim's right arm?
Yes, sir.
That's still in place.
It is correct.
States L11, is that the photo of the victim as she was laying on the tarp?
Yes, sir.
States L13, did you notice some type of makeup on the victim's fingernails?
I noticed on certain fingers she did have with like remaining nail polish.
States L14, is that seen on some of these fingernails?
Yes, sir. She had some purple and some blue.
States L21. This photograph of the back of the victim, did it appear to be much less damage to her back?
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get rid of that glare. All right. The light there, that's just modeling of light from the mangrove trees, the light coming from the
Correct.
mangroves. And her hair, was her hair in some type of style?
Yes, she had it, I believe it was in braids, and then she had small black rubber bands securing the braids.
States L22, is that just a more close-up photo of
Yes,
her hair?
of her hair, correct.
States L24, is that one of the bands that you were talking about, right?
Yes, right here. Correct.
The area where her body was removed, States L25, when Pinellas County Forensics did arrive, did they mark the area in some way that's reflected in this photograph?
Yes, they were spray painting the area so that this rock has been spray painted.
And is L27, is that just a better view of that?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And that was to mark the area where her body was removed?
Yes.
Was her body subsequently transported to a county agency in Pinellas County?
Yes, sir. It went to the Pinellas County Medical Examiner's office.
Okay. And is that because the body was found within Pinellas County?
Yes, sir.
Can your witness sit down?
Yes, have a seat, please.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to take you back to these aerial photographs. States J33. Do you recognize this area here as being the area where the victim's body was located?
Yes, sir.
And would it be basically in this area here?
Correct.
And then she was pulled into this area to be removed?
Yes, sir.
Now, on the access road, up against this tree line here, was there an area in there where there was a shoulder to the south side of the access road?
Yes.
It's kind of hard to see in
It
that
was hard to
photo.
see. Correct.
It would allow someone to park a car in there,
Yes.
or more than one car possibly, up in this area here?
Correct.
All right. When you were out at the scene after the victim's body was removed from the water, did you conduct any searching or searches in that area?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you did and what type of search you did?
I had our patrol officers also conduct searches. We walked on the path. We were looking in garbage cans. We were looking along the shoreline just to see what we could find. If we could, at the exact time, we weren't 100% sure what we were looking for, but anything that stood out, we were going to collect it in case it was important later on in the investigation.
Did you locate in your search any suitcases or children's clothing?
No.
The fact that she was found nude, were you also looking for clothing?
Yes.
And did your search extend both back towards Clearwater a certain distance and then back the other direction towards Tampa a certain
Correct.
distance? Approximately how far both directions did your search
I believe when we went to the Tampa side, we were going close towards the boat ramp, and then when we were coming back towards the Clearwater side, I'd say maybe a quarter mile.
So a good distance?
Yes.
On both sides?
Correct.
All right. And did your search, was it all on the north side of the causeway?
Yes,
Okay. On that north side access road?
correct.
Going back to states J45, which is the aerial photograph we started with. I know there's a way to clear that up, and I don't know. Oh, yeah, okay. That's all. I know you've seen these before, but does this area here appear to be the same where her body was removed from the water?
Yes, sir.
So going back towards the west, back towards Clearwater, I know you've already described for us where you entered. So when you left, did you exit back out of that westernmost exit,
Yes,
going back towards Clearwater?
yes, I did.
Okay. And the search that you conducted, you said it went from the scene, which would be here.
Yes.
In this direction, did you go past that entrance to
No.
Fort Campbell?
No, we did not.
Okay. And then coming back towards Tampa, you went all the way down to, you said, the boat ramp?
Yes, we went. We may not have gone the whole way to the boat ramp, but it was very close to the boat ramp.
Okay. So that's quite a distance.
Yeah.
All right. All along that shoreline were mangrove trees, correct?
Yes, sir.
I know we've mentioned this kind of in passing, but the person who was removed from the water was a young female.
Yes, she was.
And did you notice injuries to her body once she was removed?
From being in the water, she had all the scraping, but I didn't notice any like gunshot wounds. I didn't notice any stab wounds. I didn't see anything obvious like that.
And those are the types of things as a homicide detective that you would look for when you go to a homicide scene and
Yes,
the
sir.
body's recovered or found?
Yes, sir.
Did you, as part of your investigation, check the wind speed, the temperature of the water in the ambient air of that area at that time?
Yes, sir.
And how did you go about doing that?
Whenever we have an outdoor crime scene, I would use the program Weather Underground. And so I searched it on Google, and I looked up the information.
All right. And what was the temperature and the wind speed at that time?
It was 82 degrees. The wind speed was 10.4 miles per hour, and it was in a north-northeast direction.
So coming from the north-northeast.
Correct.
Right. And you've utilized that site in other investigations?
Yes, sir.
And as far as the mainland of Clearwater, how far out onto the causeway was this where the body was located?
I would say it was about 2 miles from the mainland. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And the individual who had found the body floating, was it a woman
Yes.
who was Spanish speaking?
Yes, sir.
And was a Spanish speaking officer brought out to interview her?
Yes.
And was she still there in the scene when you arrived?
I don't remember seeing her there, but she may have been.
All right. And did a Pinellas County Sheriff's Office forensic technician come out to the scene?
Yes, sir.
At some point? All right. And did he take photographs of the scene?
Yes,
And you indicated he marked the area where the body was removed from the water. Did he, in fact, take samples from the victim's fingernails, both scrapings and cuttings from her fingernails?
scrapings and clippings, yes, sir.
Clippings, I'm sorry. Was it brought to your attention that there was a BOLO that had been issued by a local Tampa Bay agency, law enforcement agency, for a missing child?
Yes,
And did you start investigating that part of this case?
I did, correct.
And did you, in fact, determine that that had been issued by the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Yes, it was.
Did you obtain a photograph of the missing child?
I did.
And did you attempt to compare it to her photograph to the person who had been removed from the water?
Yes, and it was very similar.
And that person's name was Felicia Nicole Williams that was missing?
Yes, sir.
And was there also what's called a buccal swab or a swabbing taken from her mouth of her possibly to get her DNA sample?
Correct.
Now, in the photographs we just saw, across from on the south side of the service road there were trees and bushes there.
Yes,
Did that appear to provide concealment from the roadway, from the Courtney Campbell Causeway,
yes, it did, in that section.
as far as that area of the northbound access road and the water?
Yes, sir.
And that's from you being out there on the ground looking?
Yes.
And that area there, we talked about there being kind of a shoulder south of the service road right there where the body was located. Did that appear to be a fairly heavily trafficked area?
Yes, there were, you could see tire marks in the dirt area.
Okay, and there was debris there like
Debris.
cigarette butts and whatnot?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, was there a cigarette butt that was found there and collected by the Pinellas County Forensics?
Yes, sir. We didn't know if it meant anything at the time, but we were going to collect it just in case.
All right. And this is an area where fishermen travel and other people coming to see the water or get near the water?
Yes.
Were you at some point notified that officers from the Temple Terrace Police Department were responding over to Clearwater PD?
Yes.
And did you then respond to another agency to try to get the photographs that had been taken?
I did. I wanted to provide Temple Terrace with a photograph of the body, the girl, and also the scene. So what we did was we had forensics contact their photo supervisor and go to the lab so they could put the photos on a disc and also put it on the website so we could view it.
Okay. And when you attended that meeting, were Detectives Elmer and Detective Smith from the Temple Terrace Police Department in attendance?
Yes, from the scene, I went to the photo lab and collected the photo there. They were not there. From
Right.
the photo lab, we then went to the main Clearwater Police Station, which is in downtown Clearwater, and that's where we did
Right.
meet the Temple Terrace detectives.
And were there other people there in your command staff that
Yes.
were there for that
Yes, sir.
meeting? All right. After meeting with the Temple Terrace Police Departments and showing them the photographs from the crime scene, did you and another homicide detective, robbery homicide detective from Clearwater PD, travel with those two detectives back to the scene where the body had been recovered?
Yes, Detective Rulin was going to be the case agent from Clearwater, and we drove in a separate vehicle, and the Temple Terrace detectives, Elmer and Smith, followed us back to the crime scene.
And when you went back to the area, did you all get out of your cars and again view that area where the body had been recovered?
Yes,
that
sir.
crime scene? And did you do additional searching of that area?
We did. We did another cursory search.
Okay. Did you locate anything or find anything?
No, we didn't.
And after that cursory search, did you and Detective Rulin then leave that area and follow the Temple Terrace detectives somewhere?
Yes, we went back to their station.
And when you got back to their station, this would have been early evening?
Yes. Gosh, I want to say maybe it was between 7 and 8 p.m. May have been a little later.
All right, and that would have been the Temple Terrace Police Department on 56th Street in the city of Temple Terrace?
Yes.
And did you stay there for several hours?
Yes,
Trying to do whatever you could to assist and help?
correct.
All right. And at some point, did you and Detective Rulin clear that area and then go back to Clearwater Police Department?
Yes.
Was an autopsy conducted on the body of Felicia Williams the following day
Yes, sir.
at the Pinellas County Medical Examiner's Office?
Correct.
All right. And did a Clearwater detective attend that
Yes, sir.
autopsy?
My partner, Detective Rowland, had attended the autopsy.
And during that autopsy, was the body identified as being Felicia Nicole Williams?
Yes, sir.
You have 1 moment, Don?
Yes.
I'll tender the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Cross?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to take a look at J45.
Sure.
Good luck.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe,
There we go. This is good.
I don't know if there's a way just to turn off these overhead lights without making the entire courtroom dark, because it's the glare that's causing that.
Yeah, it's
We'll
fine.
work with that later.
So, Corporal, this is a photo as it appeared back in 2014.
Yes.
Since then, there's been some construction on the south side of the Courtney Campbell Causeway.
Yes.
All right. And in 2014, there were service roads on both the north side and the south side of the Courtney Campbell Causeway.
Yes, I do believe so.
Okay. And I wanted to make sure, when you're coming from Palm Harbor, and then you're heading eastbound on the Courtney Campbell Causeway, right?
Yes, from my residence in Palm Harbor, I was initially starting to head towards our main station.
Okay.
And then from there, I rerouted and then came down 60, which is Gulf to Bay, which would lead me out to the bridge.
Okay, so you had already made it down to 60 from Palm Harbor when you were rerouted.
Well, when I got the phone call, I don't exactly remember where I was on the road, but that was about the route that I took to get to
Okay.
it.
Now, as you're traveling eastbound on the Courtney Campbell Causeway, did I understand correctly that you actually turn onto the service road before you reach the area where the body was found?
I did. When you exit the service road, that is supposed to be for westbound traffic. So there's a median break. So what I had done was I went across the bridge and then I went into the westbound lane of the service road,
Okay.
not the Courtney Campbell.
Right, so you're basically coming down the wrong way down the service road.
Yes,
Right. And you indicated as you're traveling down to where the body was found, that at some point you ended up scratching up the driver's side of your new vehicle.
yes.
Did you take photographs of that?
No, I didn't.
Did it require repair?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Did all the other people that responded from Clearwater Police Department end up with scratches on their cars?
I didn't ask them. I don't know.
Bottom line is, you can drive that service road back in 2014 without getting scratches on the car.
To keep my car on the road, the mangroves were overgrown, so it scratched my car. I think if you tried to drive partially off the road, you could avoid it.
Right, but certainly, you ended up with some scratches on the car. They were not significant enough where you ended up taking photos of the scratches, right?
Correct.
And it wasn't such that every single one of the patrol, lots of patrols showed up at the scene, right?
I don't know which route they took, and I don't know if they did because we didn't discuss it.
All right. Now, would it be fair to say that the service road, both on the north-south side and the south side of the Courtney Campbell Causeway in 2014 were basically open 24 hours, 7 days a week?
Yes.
Unless there's a hurricane coming through and the bridge is closed, these areas are open, right?
Yes, they're open.
Okay. And the prosecutor indicated that people go there for a variety of reasons.
Yes.
Okay.
A
People
lot of
stop there to
fishermen.
fish.
Correct.
People stop there just to relax.
Yes.
Maybe lovers show up there to hide out among the mangroves as well.
Yes.
Okay. And this is well known to the Clearwater Police Department. It's not news, right?
Not a secret.
Okay. Now, your primary focus as far as searching for evidence was on the north side of the Courtney Campbell Causeway and also on the west side from the bridge that takes you over to the boat ramp, which is on the east side of the Courtney Campbell. Is that a fair statement?
Okay, from the scene, we searched coming eastbound,
Right.
and then we went westbound
Right.
also, correct?
Right. But you basically, the majority of the search area is on the Pinellas side, or at least the west side of the hump. Would that be a fair
Okay,
statement?
I understand what you're saying, yes.
Okay, all right. Now, you indicated that you checked on a Weather Underground, which I think is an app on your smartphone, right?
It was, I don't think back then I'm still not big into apps, but it was something that I think I searched Google on my desktop at work.
Okay, all right. So, and you had referenced that it was 82 degrees. 82 degrees at what time?
I want to say it was 2:43 p.m., so we didn't get it on the exact time of when we got the call.
Okay. And then you had wind speed at 10.4, was that miles per hour or knots per hour?
I think that it said MPH, so miles per hour.
Miles per hour, okay. Did you note this in your report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that also at 2:43 p.m.?
Yes.
All right. What about?
I'm sorry, can I,
Yes.
the time was 2:53 p.m.
2:53. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What about the tides? Did you check the tides?
I did not.
What about the wind speed and direction of the wind? 11 p.m. on May 16th.
No, I just checked around the time that she was recovered.
Okay, all right. The scrapings, the clippings, and the other items of evidence, such as the cigarette butt that was found and collected, these items are all collected to see whether or not maybe there's some foreign DNA, right?
Yes,
Okay, to see whether or not there can be a connection to a perpetrator.
sure.
And you don't actually do that testing.
No,
Someone else does it.
correct.
You just make sure it's collected, you get submitted to the lab, and they do the appropriate testing.
Yes, the main agency or the case detective would decide which pieces of evidence need to be submitted and tested.
Okay. You talked about the mangroves that we see along the Courtney Campbell Causeway,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
And there are certain areas where there's less mangroves, and there's certain areas where there's more mangroves, right?
Yes, I mean, you can see where all these, bushy areas are.
Right. And you know that they're mangroves, right?
Yes,
You recognize them as mangroves.
yes.
Do you have any idea what type of mangroves they are?
I don't know their genus, species. I don't. I just living in Florida my whole
Right.
life. You know what a mangrove is.
Okay, and living in Florida your whole life, well, right now you work Clearwater Beach, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you know that anywhere there is salt water in this area, there are mangroves, pretty much.
I don't know that we have any mangroves on Clearwater Beach.
Have you been to the north end of Clearwater Beach, when you go down to Caladisi, along the beach? You have ever walked the beach there?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So you don't know whether there are mangroves there or not?
No.
There may be.
Sure.
And on the intercoastal side of Clearwater Beach, where there are homes and along the beach, have you seen mangroves in that area?
There could be. I
You
don't remember.
you don't know.
I don't know.
Would you agree that mangroves are very common in Pinellas County and throughout Florida.
Yeah, mangroves do grow here, yes.
I'm sorry?
Mangroves grow here, yes.
Well, and I think you said earlier, you grew up in Florida, you know mangroves.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. Your memory of the scratches on your car, in that your car was brand new, were you upset about it?
Yes.
Is that one of the reasons you remember it?
Yes.
Did you have any reason at the time to think that that would be relevant to this case or the investigation of this case?
No.
Did you have any reason to photograph them?
No.
Or that they may become relevant to this case? Did you have any reason that you would be able to figure that out in advance?
No.
Okay. Nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. May this witness be excused?
I ask that you remain under subpoena.
Okay, so you are excused for today, but obviously subject to being recalled
Yes.
if needed. Okay, very good, thank you. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, we worked a little bit later than 5 o'clock today, just in order to finish this witness. So we will go ahead and take our evening recess. Please remember my previous instructions. Do not talk about this case with anyone. Do not do any independent research on this case, and do not listen to, read any news accounts related to this case. We will begin tomorrow morning promptly at 9 a.m. with the next witness. All right, very good. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow.
All rise, jury equity. Go ahead, please. Okay, you're out.
Okay, very good. The jury's left the courtroom. What's our lineup tomorrow, Mr. Harmon?
I know we have a couple of deputies in the morning, Officer Rulin from the Clearwater Police Department, Detective Carroll is going to be testifying. The defendant's statement will be introduced through his testimony, which will take probably an hour and a half,
Okay.
video interview. That's right, Detective Delmore. He was actually here, we ran out of time, so I sent him home.
Okay, all right.
Rulon, Carroll, and Elmer.
We'll try to come up with a more firm list this evening and send it to you.
Awesome. Thank
Like
you.
we've been doing.
Okay, very good. See you all tomorrow. Okay.